I've had this garden furniture for about 8 years and it's made of teak, never been treated with anything, with wood stains or oil, and it's really starting to show its age and just needs a little bit of love. The wood has started to split in the joints, and by putting some waterproof coating on it, although it's not going to mend it, it'll stop the problem from getting worse. And with all of the dirt and algae on it, it just looks really messy. So a decent water-based wood stain from our Protek Royal range will help to protect it and make it look beautiful again. First thing we need to do is strip off all of the dirt and the algae. Now you can do that by sanding it, but that will take a very long time, so the quickest and easiest way of doing it is by using a pressure hose. So pretty quickly, that's one chair nicely cleaned off, and now it's just going to have to dry fully before we do anything else to it. So we use the jet wash to clean this chair down, and it has stripped off all of the dirt, the algae. The only thing about it though is because the pressure hose is very high pressure, it has furred up the wood, and so there are lots of splinters and rough edges on it. So we just need to do a bit of a rough sand just to make sure it's all nice and smooth, to remove any debris, and then we can get on with painting it. We're not going to use any wood preserver on it because being made out of teak, being a hardwood, it's not going to rot, or certainly not in its lifetime anyway, or our lifetime. So we're just going to go straight on to putting a protective coating of Royal on it, and we've chosen a nice walnut colour so it will help make it look gorgeous. So we're using a coarse sanding block to rub down all of the rough furred edges all along all the sides of it. And then we'll get into these slats later on with some sandpaper. The table's also been thoroughly cleaned with the power hose and left to dry for over a week now, so it's time just to sand off the rough edges on this as well, and then we can get treating it with the Royal. The tabletop's pretty much finished now, the underneath's being sanded off, and just doing a final pass over with the sandpaper, using a fine grade, just get rid of any final little bits. The table leg's in a pretty good shape, so we're just giving them a very quick sand off with some fine sandpaper. All the sanding's finished now, so we're just using a brush to get rid of any of the debris. So we're ready to start painting it now. We're painting it inside because it's November time, and although it's a nice clear sunny day today, there is rain on the way, and because it's being quite cold and possible frost this evening, if we were to leave them outside it would take a very long time to dry and would basically just ruin the coating. So doing it inside the garage where it's nice and warm and dry, we don't need to use any base coats or primers because Royal will just adhere straight to the wood. As you can see, the stain is going on very nicely. beauty of using a dark colour like walnut is that it will cover up any kind of imperfection. You can see that the timber over the years where it's been bleached by the sun, it's just covered in lots of different colours, and using the walnut will just blend it all in and give it a nice uniform coloured coating. The only tricky part of painting the slats is just making sure that you don't have any huge drips going through. So as you're going along, just make sure to even those out. The first coat's been done, and we use a large brush to apply it. It's spread beautifully, but now all we're doing is getting a small brush just to go into the gaps and just make sure there aren't any drips and that it's all applied nice and evenly. You can just see at the top where the glue was that it has shown through, which of course it will do, so you might just need to put 3 coats on that, but we'll just see how the second coat goes on. So we finished the first coat and left them overnight to dry, and it's all looking pretty good. The first coat's absorbed really nicely, and there are a couple of drips on here because we just got a little bit slapdash towards the end of the day. So all you need to do is just rub them down with some sandpaper. Depending on how big and thick they are, either coarse or just fine will be absolutely perfect for it. And then you're ready to put the second coat on. So you can see on the tabletop that the first coat's absorbed really well into the timber. So although Royal is a wood stain coating, it has gone in absolutely beautifully. Aesthetically, you could actually get away with just the 1 coat, but 2 coats just gives a far better waterproofing protection. It will just make it a lot more hard wearing, and it'll last longer before you have to do any more maintenance on it. The other lovely thing about Royal is how little we've actually used. You can see in the tub there that there's, well, only just over a litre really that's gone, and that's on the tabletop, both the legs and all 4 chairs. So we're going to get on with doing the second coat now. Right, so that's the second coat on. We're just going to leave them to dry now, and that's the furniture set completed. Now, after the first coat, if you do like the finish, what you can do is just apply a top coat of the clear Royal exterior, and that way you'll get the 2 coats of protective waterproofing properties, but with just the colouring of the 1 coat. We wouldn't really advise 3 coats of this product. The problem is if you keep on putting too many coats on, then you can end up just overbuilding, overlayering, and it can cause the coats to start cracking and peeling. As it is, on the tabletop, because it's on a horizontal surface, you're going to get a lot more exposure from the sun, bleaching, and also just from having sitting water on it, it's not going to last as long as on vertical surfaces, so you just touched up as and when required. And here it is, all finished, looking so much nicer than it was before. Absolutely love the colour, and it's just great knowing it's fully protected now against all this horrible weather we've been having. And soon, when the weather improves and summer's on its way, we can start sitting out here and enjoying the sunshine and a nice cool summer's evening.